are some powerful Yu-Gi-Oh decks that can beat the meta right now. Class, I know you guys are sick of Justice Hunters. K9, yummy. What's that other deck? Draco Tail. I ain't gonna lie, I actually like Draco Tail. Hey man, there's something about fighting them that got me like, And you're probably wondering about some other Yu-Gi-Oh strategies that can compete. Well, this is the video. And in today's class, I'm going to be talking about some pretty strong Yu-Gi-Oh decks that are astonishingly good against the big three. And of course, if you want to be a part of this class, you guys already know what to do. You can't be in the class without registering, hitting that subscribe button, and if you want to take it a step further and get points to become a prestiged player, my Discord has an entire dual academy. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump on in. What's going on with y'all big dogs? And it is an amazing day for Yu-Gi-Oh! I hope that your day phenomenal. But if it isn't, don't let what happened at the beginning of your day ruin the rest of your day. And speaking of days, big dog, it is Update my day! A particular time where I trick you into thinking that this is a Yu-Gi-Oh video, but in actuality, I want to make you an amazing person overall. Don't worry, big dogs, if this isn't your cup of tea, we do have timestamps so you can skip. But for today's Update Monday, I actually want to talk about something that I have started to do. And that particular thing is, it's kind of crazy because my doctor, when I first found out I had rheumatoid arthritis, told me that sports may not be the possibility. And now in 2025, I'm actually picking up my third sport. That's right, big dogs. I decided at 18 million years to go ahead and start playing baseball, dog. Look at me, look at me. Don't I look like one of them dudes? Huh? I look like I'm about to, I can't swing it because I will mess up my entire office. I picked up baseball and joined the league having no knowledge how to play the game, at least in an official space. And no, I didn't pick it up because of Cyberpunk. But one thing that is for sure, there is going to be some growing pains. There's going to be learning curves. But not only, big dogs, am I ready and excited for those growing pains and learning something new, I'm also incredibly open and receptive to feedback, which is something that I think Yu-Gi-Oh players can stand to benefit from because that's pretty much what we're going to be talking about. Class, adaptability and being able to take criticism is what rogue players are all about. Figuring out which strategies actually have a good matchup against some of the best decks in the game takes a lot of trial and effort. And the thing that I love about rogue decks so much is because as the meta develops, rogue decks often change, easily making some better than others and also allowing some other ones to become part of the spotlight. Let's go ahead and talk about our three major decks and also speak on how these rogue decks can beat them. Taking a pretty big look, the most represented deck is K9, a Yu-Gi-Oh strategy based off of being able to activate monster effects from the hand during either player's turn when card effects are activated in the hand and graveyard. As a rogue player, we can take advantage of this by picking Yu-Gi-Oh decks that don't activate card effects in the hand or graveyard, or using strategies that don't care about the K9 card effects. Yummy also has another interesting playline as well. It is a synchro based Yu-Gi-Oh deck that summons tons of little monsters and makes them really strong. It also is a strategy that can respond to your opponent responding. And how we're going to take advantage of this weakness is we're going to summon really big monsters and punish Yummy players for needing to activate card effects. Lastly is Draco Tail, and I think personally this is the most versatile. It's not because this is my favorite deck out of Justice Hunters, it's simply because the deck almost seemingly has no weakness. Fortunately enough, it is a fusion-based, graveyard-reliant Yu-Gi-Oh strategy, so we're going to take advantage of those two things when picking out our rogue decks. And that, big dogs, is the most important thing about building rogue decks for the format, identifying the toughest decks in the game, and then also addressing their weaknesses. As you guys' classwork, you were to post down below in the comment section, what are some Yu-Gi-Oh strategies that you think can beat the top meta decks and why? We're going to go ahead and first start off by addressing a major weakness that all three decks can have. It's their extra deck. Class, if you take a look at the most accomplished version of Yummy, you will realize that it only plays one Cupsy, one Lollipop, and one Cookie. It also is a hand trap heavy style Yu-Gi-Oh strategy, meaning that if we can play through the hand traps and establish a board, then the opponent will probably be cooked, and that's where our first strategy is going to start. I think that Kashtira is the perfect scenario against Yummy. It's actually a couple of reasons. We already know that Kashtira Finra is crazy powerful right now. Yu-Gi-Oh players are placing it in their side deck in the main deck, especially if they're playing Draco Tail. And the reason why is because Kashtira Finwer not only allows you to be able to attack over Yummy monsters without them being able to activate their effects, it also can banish cards face down. One of the win conditions for being able to beat Yummy is getting rid of Yummy Set Mignon. This card gives the Yummy monsters ridiculous attack, but without it, this deck loses to almost any monster. Like, it genuinely can struggle. So the cool thing here is that the Kashtira cards can actually play multiple roles here, being a monster that's just naturally stronger than Yummy and can easily attack over Cupsy, Lolipo, and Cookie without triggering any effects. But also, if they do decide to trigger effect, using the effect of cards like Kashtira Finwer to be able to banish their field spell, which gives them all of their attack power, means that they have to go through our Kashtira cards in a simplified game state. But it goes even deeper than that. You see, Kashtira seems like the perfect counter for Yummy, because since players are only playing one copy of the Synchros, and I've seen some players only playing 2 copies of Snatchy, Kashtira Unicorn is also another crazy Yu-Gi-Oh card. As you guys know, the best build of Yummy is reliant on hand traps, and most of them are monster effects, meaning that the odds of you triggering Kashtira Unicorn's effect is decently high, and by the time their turn starts around, you can get rid of another card, which could be huge. Immediately, just by using Kashtira Finwer and Unicorn, you have a ton of board break. But chat, I wouldn't even stop there. I think it's best to provide coverage for some of the other 2 decks here, and we already know that Kashtira is a solid base, but not overall one of the better decks that you can play because of the limitations on the ban list. I think playing Kashtira Fiendsmith also is a smart choice. You can tire out a lot of your opponent's hand traps with just the Kashtira cards because they don't want you to get rid of cards face down, and when your opponent's resources are low, you can use those to go full Fiendsmith combo. But I'm not saying that that's the only way you guys can play Kashtira. It can be played in so many different ways, and that's why I think it's such a powerful deck right now. I wasn't a huge fan of Kashtira when it was the tier 1 deck, but I became a fan just because it's so good at being able to check the best decks available. And in order to be able to check the best decks available, you probably should have the best sleeves in the entire universe, and that's when we're talking about Ravenwing version 4. That's right, big dogs, the cat is out of the bag, and the best sleeve ever just got even better. Ravenwing version 4 has an entirely brand new color and standard size sleeves for you other card game players. So guys, if you want to support the channel while also getting something in return, go ahead and go to TheCaliEffect.com and purchase your Raven's Wing sleeves today. Your Raven's Wing sleeves, your Raven's Wing, get it together, Cali. I think we've effectively given a suggestion to go against Yummy and also given it some coverage against the other 3 decks. But another strategy that I think is really good right now and is incredibly underrated also goes against K9 fairly well. Like we said before, big dogs, K9 needs you to activate card effects in your hand and in your graveyard. But what if you don't do that? What if you play a deck that never activates cards in the hand or graveyard? And that's where I think Sky Striker is incredible at. Sky Striker not only has an anime, making it an actual lore Yu-Gi-Oh deck. The Gooners are gooning right now, you already know they are. It's also a deck that never has to play a hand trap. The Sky Striker cards are so popular that Yummy players are using it because it gets you so much advantage. Sky Striker Mobilize Engage and Hornet Drones is a small piece for Yummy, but is a huge piece for Sky Striker. It's simply because there's an array of powerful spell cards that this deck can use. I think in a graveyard reliant / effect heavy format, people forget how powerful Sky Striker, Mecha Widow Anchor, and Shark Cannon really are, giving the deck a lot of utility to not only negate opponents' important cards, but also manipulate the graveyard into their favor. And this actually matches up really well against K9 strategies, because being able to banish Lupus from the graveyard or prevent it from Xyz summoning can be pretty huge. A lot of time we rogue players just have to bet on potential. Sky Striker has just got support in Duelist Advance, and we can already expect more support for Sky Striker very soon. Now, we don't always have to go with a rogue Yu-Gi-Oh deck that's not as popular or played. You can actually just look at tournament results and find really powerful decks that just so happen to be rogue, like White Forest. Somebody a couple of weeks ago said it is a crime that White Forest is considered rogue, and I can kind of agree with you. This deck seems to line up with the current meta really well. It's a deck that can play board breakers like Forbidden Chalice and Forbidden Droplet, being able to negate your opponent's turn 0 cards, and even takes advantage of Triple Tactics Thrust in his targets like the Black Goat Laughs, saying that if you draw multiple copies or if you draw the cards you don't want to see, they're always food for your White Forest card effects. The last thing that this deck does really well is that it makes negation boards. Kind of funny how Azamina Eel Silva has has completely fallen out of competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! The ultimate rare copy of this card is like $10, which is crazy. Wink, wink, buy that card. Wink, wink, use my TCG player link down below. What was preventing White Force from being a strong Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck last format was Droll and Lockbird. The card was pretty good just about everywhere, but in this new Yu-Gi-Oh! Format, Droll isn't that prevalent because it's not good against the big decks. And oftentimes we have to take advantage of what people are giving to us when we are playing these strategies. Now, lastly, class, is another strategy I think is really strong. I wouldn't focus too much on Dracotel, though I would say Labyrinth is a pretty solid counter against the deck. It can not only search Dimensional Barrier, declaring fusion against the strategy, it can also search Different Dimension Ground, which is good against Yummy and also good against Dracotel. I would say that Labyrinth has a few weaknesses. It activates cards in both the hand and graveyard pretty consistently, and it's a deck that could be slow to getting to the ball, if you know what I mean. So that one can technically be our fourth deck, pseudo-ly, because it is still strong. I'm still working out some problems that it's currently having, but the actual deck that I think is crazy strong right now, and look, man, y'all gonna take me back to the old me. Earth Machine, best deck, baby! Let's go! Oftentimes, as Rogue Yu-Gi-Oh! Players, you should be inspired. Looking at other players accomplish things with Rogue Yu-Gi-Oh! Decks should get the gears turning every single time. And there was actually a Yu-Gi-Oh! Player that accomplished that with Earth Machine. The deck makes so much sense too. Machina Fortress doesn't activate, it summons itself to the side of the field. It can bypass the Yummy Synchro Monsters effects. Oh, also the effect to look at your opponent's hand does not activate either. The deck is really good at being like a board breaker style Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck. It's kind of crazy. Earth Machine has always been really good at that. But I think the biggest factor would pulled me over to Earth Machine is the RB monsters. I gotta admit, big dogs, I was wrong. The RB monsters are pretty freaking good. Now, congratulations to Todd Tolbert, who topped with Earth Machine, baby. We need you in our lives. I think his build is really strong. I mean, obviously, it topped the regional, right? In my particular version, there would be quite a few changes, and if that's something you guys want to see, let me know down below in the comment section. But this deck really is good in the meta right now. The RB monsters don't activate, allow you to be able to put a lot of pressure on cards like Yummy Snatchy, Vanquish Soul monsters, or Canine monsters on the side of the field, and Dracotel. And the best thing about this deck is that it doesn't always lock itself into machine monsters. Dare I say, I think Rogue is pretty scary in Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now. But of course, Clash, you guys already know what your class work is. You have to post down below in the comment section what are some other Rogue Yu-Gi-Oh! Strategies that are good against the meta and why. You also have to join the Discord if you want to start getting Slifer Slacker points so you can get the reading raw. And always go to TheCaliEffect.com for your sleeves. Well, there's the bell, big dogs. Maria, she put the bell in, right? Because I don't got a bell here. Make sure you guys are having an amazing day. And also, be sure to get to your next class before it's too late. I'll catch you on the next video.